and welcome to my YouTube channel Hireable Coder, and in this video I'm going to discuss and show how we can retrieve data from a relational database using Java or JavaScript. Now this is one of the most common tasks that a software engineer needs to accomplish in his daily work, because we often store the data in a relational database, and hence even for starting coders this is actually a very important exercise. I also have given the link to my blog post. Maybe you can go to my blog post and go through it, and then you can come back to this video and see the demo, but up to you, of course. So coming back to the relational database, here in this video I'm going to show you how we can fetch data from SQLite, because that is also a relational database and supports the standard SQL queries, although that's not typically a database which we use in production. The normal databases which we use in production are MySQL, Postgres, and HSQL, or maybe even H2, but setting them up would be a little bit more involved, and hence I decided to actually show this demo with SQLite. But whatever applies to SQLite database will also apply to any other relational databases. So if you understand the logic and the program structure to retrieve data from SQLite, you should be able to do it for any other relational databases. Now, before we actually fetch the data, the important thing for us is to set up SQLite database, to download SQLite, to create a database, and to create a table and populate it with data. I will show the demo of all that, so please do not worry. First, we will see a JavaScript solution which fetches data from the SQLite database. And here is the JavaScript solution. We are using SQLite 3, which is a library, which is an external library we are using in JavaScript, and we need to install the library using the npm install command. And then you can see the first function, createDB connection, is actually establishing a connection to the database and returning that connection or returning that database handle. And the next function, select rows, is actually invoking or is actually executing a select query in that database. So that's the JavaScript solution, and we can run the program using the command node and then the name of the program, and then the program will run, provided that database is already there. And again, you can go to my blog post and see the details, and you can actually, I would suggest you can actually copy the program from there and then come back to your Visual Studio Code and run it. But if you are still struggling to set up your Java or JavaScript or Visual Studio Code, please refer to my other video. And if you do not know how to use external libraries in JavaScript, then also I have another video for that, so please refer to both of them. Now we will see the Java solution. For Java solution also we need an external driver, which is the SQLite driver, which is an external library. So we will use that external library to create the connection and then retrieve the data from the database. So this is the Java version of the program. It looks similar, though little bit different of course. So we are referring to the same SQLite file, and we are using the same query to actually retrieve the data and then print out the data. So now let us go and see the demo of this. So let us first download SQLite, and if you search with SQLite 3 in Google, then you will see this SQLite homepage. If you navigate there and then if you go to download, then you can actually see the page from where you can download the SQLite corresponding to your operating system. So either you can download the Windows zip or the zip for Mac OS or the zip for Linux. They will be mostly similar, and when you unzip it, then I will show you how it looks like in my system. So I have it here within my softwares. So here is SQLite. So if you unzip that, then you will see that three executables are there, and you can actually create a database just by using SQLite 3 and then you just name the database, and then a database will be created. So you can also see the documentation here, programming interfaces, SQLite in 5 minutes or less. So this is the command which you can use to create a database. Okay, so once the database is created, you can also populate it, but before you populate it, so let us download the SQLite DB browser for SQLite, which is this software which I use to view SQLite. You can actually use in many other softwares, but maybe this one is an easy one. So you can download the version corresponding to your operating system again and install it. So I have installed it here. I will now open the database which I created, which is this one. This is the database which I had created earlier, and in that database I created multiple tables and also populated data in the table. So for example, there is a student master table which has some data, just some random data, which I'm going to display, which I'm going to fetch and display using my JavaScript and Java program. So let us now see the JavaScript program first. So let me open the JavaScript program, which is here. So this list data program is the one which fetches the data from this test1.db. So that's a different database which has another table. So I mean, you can create as many databases you want, but before you can run the program, you will have to install SQLite 3 external library in JavaScript using the command npm install and then SQLite 3. I had already installed it, and the proof of that is again in package.json that SQLite 3 is there. So if I go back and simply run node list data.js, it will list the entire content from that test1.db. Now I will go and open the Java program, which is here, which is this one, the DB example. That fetches data from a different SQLite database, which is EX1, and that database has, so that database is this one, which has the students master table. And this is the syntax of the Java program. So I'm now going to execute the Java program. Sorry. So now I'm going to execute the Java program using the maven command, but before that I will set maven, and then I'm going to execute the Java program using, basically run the Java program. So the name of the program is DB example. Let's run it. It should print all the rows. Yes, it has printed all the rows. Now a few pieces of advice. As you can see in the Java program, that there are multiple things here, like a connection object is created, and then from connection a statement object is created, and finally from a statement a result set object is created. So result set is an object which represents the results of the rows, and connection is the object which represents the connection to the database. And this is a try with resources, which means all these resources will be automatically closed. Now if this sounds a little bit complex, and this might sound, please do not worry at all at this moment. I will post Java videos later, but the important thing here is if you can understand the overall skeleton and can copy the program and run it, and then you create a different database, you create a different table, and you are able to use the same program and tweak it a little bit, recompile it, and then rerun it and fetch the data from the different table of the different database, then it should be fine. Because most important thing in programming is to understand the overall concept, overall structure, instead of trying to understand every single syntax right at the outset. So thank you for your patient hearing. I hope it was useful, but please go ahead to my blog post, copy the code, run first the JavaScript version and then the Java version, then create a separate database, separate table, and try to fetch data from the new table. Please do not try to understand every single line of the code at the beginning, because then it might be overwhelming, or it will definitely be overwhelming if you are a starting coder. So instead of trying to understand every line of the code, try to understand the skeleton and try to use the same skeleton to query a different table from a different database. And if that works, I think that's a very good start. So all the best for that. And if you like my video and my explanation, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because that would definitely motivate me.